50 was the site of the last battle of the Civil War in the East. Happened May the 4th, 1865. I think maybe the surrender of Appomattox was in April. So things didn't get around that quick back then. So see my bike right up there. But the first time I ever came up here, I was on a four-wheeler riding around that, and I looked off down in here, and that's not a ramp. It looks like a ramp, but it's not. See how that stem is white? That's not a ramp. Doesn't have any smell to it, no smell. The ones with the little yellow, with I'm looking for ramps, not the patch that I normally come to, but I know that if I look, I may see a patch. But right here is the Hanging Dog Gap, and this is where the history is. So I'll tell you about that. The site of the last battle of the Civil War in the East. Happened May the 4th, 1865. I think maybe the surrender of Appomattox was in April. So things didn't get around that quick back then, so there were still some little skirmishes. But I'll describe this to you. It's a place called Valley Town. See, there's a valley down there. The plane crashes back up that direction, but that was called, it's Valley Town back then, but now it's Andrews. And there's Kirkland's bushwhackers were roaming this area, and they were stealing stuff, anything they wanted to eat, stealing people's corn to feed their horses, and just crazy stuff. Well, they had been to Murphy, and they were trying to get some stuff out of the courthouse that had papers on them where they'd been doing wrong, and they couldn't find the papers, so they burnt the courthouse down and started up towards Valley Town. Well, on the way, they ran into some people, and they said, look, there's a Confederate regiment up in Valley Town, and they had been told there was 1,200 or there was 1,000. They didn't know for sure, but they kept coming and asking people. Well, they got down here, down to the end of this hollow. It's called Hyatt's Creek, and they stopped, and one of them knew old man Hyatt, and they said, is there some Confederate forces up there? And he said, I ain't sure how many there are, but there's enough to take yous all out in the first volley. The first shots will take them all out. So it was Kirkland's bushwhackers. They said, well, we're not going up that way. Let's go to Hanging Dog. So they took off up, this is Hyatt's Creek, took this way. So as soon as they left, Hyatt sent one of his sons up to Valley Town to tell them that the Kirkland's Raiders were down here heading up towards Hanging Dog. So they took out after them, got there after dark, and headed up this way to run them down. So they got up here, and I'm assuming that they probably got into this gap. This has been a good place to overnight. This is Hanging Dog Gap, and that's Hanging Dog Mountain right up there. This is Hanging Dog Gap. And right over here is Owl Creek and Boiling Springs. And there's some houses down in there. I don't know if I can see one right now. But there's houses down in there. So they got here after dark and they could see some lights, which would have been lanterns. They probably had torches. But they saw that they were down there, so they said, we'll wait till in the morning and we'll go down and get these guys. The Confederates, the ones chasing, only had 6 rounds apiece, so they couldn't do much fighting. So they got down there, daybreak. The Raiders saw them, took off, they shot. They shot like 3 rounds each, and 11 people were injured. But they got them going the right direction. They said, well, if they're heading out of here, then that's fine, we'll let them go. But that was April the 4th, 1865. Following old Ryan over there. Rhino is the mission. Go! Hey, I could have doubled that. Property. If you look right there, I'll come back and show you that. More history. Plane crash right down there. Come back and we'll talk about that. Right here, terrain gets a little rougher. I don't know what Ryan was doing. It got out of shape. What? This 450 will get you out of shape. Ease if you don't watch it. I think that's a ramp patch right there. See all that greenery? That's the ramp patch. I think you're a little early and you're not. You're here right on time. All that greenery there is ramps. All around the side of that hill. Oh, we're heading on down. Find us a good spot with lots of ramps for easier digging. See a spot on down there I like. Look good. Yeah, here where it's not been harvested so much. See right there where somebody's dug quite a bit right there, but I'm gonna go right over there. Right over there. Right here. There's a few. Not that thick, but there's a few. Show you what this is all about. Let me just get set up here. And now all this is edible. I don't think that's a ramp right there. You got to watch out. That's not a ramp. It looks like a ramp, but it's not. See how that stem is white? That's not a ramp. Doesn't have any smell to it. No smell. The ones with the little yellow, I mean, with a little red to them, that's ramps right there. You see this red? That's a ramp. And when you smell it, you can smell the odor to it. Now to do this, the way it's recommended, you cut off the root, little fingers coming off of the bulb, and you put that back down in the hole. That's what you're looking for, is that right there. Now these are small, but that's the ramp right there. Good and smelly. I kind of cut that off too too early, but that's how you dig a ramp. Get another one here. Get down under the bulb, that way you don't cut it off. Work it around, pull it out. That's a good one. Another good one. We may be here a little early. They hadn't got as big, but supposedly they're better. They're not as strong right now. So this is mountain ramps. So if somebody ever asks you what a ramp is, it tastes like garlic, onion, strong onion, and it will stay with you a long time. You eat a bunch of this and you may not want to try to smooch around on your girlfriend or your wife. A bag full right there, and the only spot I've dug is right here within 10 feet or less of that bag, and you see how much more there is, and it's probably not all up yet either. It's all ramps, all this greenery. And in a few more weeks, everything green will pop up and you can't even see a ramp. See, Rhino is right down there digging, but all this is ramps. There's a good big, looks like some big ones right over there. I think I'll go over there and hit that. Ryan is walking down there, hiking down to it. We're about 4,000 feet. See off in the distance over there. That's the valley. That's flat. So there was two pilots, two planes, male and a female. The guy decided he needed to get fuel in Andrews, which is just up from that spot you can see down there, maybe a mile or so. He went down to get fuel, and she decided she didn't need fuel, so she kept flying. She must have dropped down in altitude and didn't gain enough altitude to come through this gap, and she flew straight into the mountain here, and that's where she ended up. Of course, it killed her, but see how low. If she'd a little farther over there, she'd have been okay, but she needed about, I don't know, 200 more feet to clear. She just didn't get high enough. Didn't get high enough to make it. See my bike right up there. But the first time I ever came up here, I was on a four-wheeler riding around that, and I looked off down in here and I saw this, and I thought, oh my God, somebody's crashed a plane, and I was almost expecting to find a body in it, but it was several years before that it crashed. But this is, what do you call this, the fuselage? This part, the front. But there's one of the wings, and there's the seats, some controls. I don't know if somebody came and got the engine out off of this thing, I guess. But I think years ago I could see you could see where it came into the trees, kind of clipped the tops of them out. But people have carried off bits and pieces of it through the years. There used to be more of it up here. This looks like the tail section. Yep. There's the tail of it. Still intact. Not sure what that is. There's some more. That's a wing down there. Let's see, this is all fiberglass right there. No, it's aluminum. There's the tail section. It's like the black box right there. Might have been a black box. Maybe a battery. Walk down there to that other big. Crazy now. Those far ridges over there is the rim trail. There's 3 plane crashes up there. 2 of them are still there. One of them they carried it all out, but that's the door. Yeah, that's the door. Plexiglass. Big section wing. So it started ripping stuff off down here. See a piece down there. Pieces there. She just didn't get enough altitude. She just made that gap right there, another 200 feet. Went through that gap right there, she would have been okay. But there was, the FFA reports that it was a dark, starry night, no moon. So, she just didn't realize she was flying into the side of a mountain. Just flew in the side.